Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing. Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 250 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. 250 episodes. That's a lot. We've come a long way, and it is only getting better from here. You know why I can say that with so much confidence? Well, partly because we keep learning, but mostly because we keep learning and we apply it. It's one thing to know something. It's an entirely different thing to actually apply it. Think about that the next time you learn something new. I know we podcast listeners have a tendency to get that love, that dopamine hit of learning, but we actually have to apply it for anything to change. And being wildly successful isn't simply about just learning. We want to grow too, which means things change. And in order for something to change, we have to take action of some sort. Thank you for allowing me that rant. I feel like I'm doing rants at the beginning anymore. Okay, so I heard this last week that depression is the biggest reason for mental illness right now in the US and all over the world. And that at the root of that depression is often self-worth issues. Now, for some, self-worth issues come from comparing themselves to others through social media or any format, which is a big problem. We've never had that before, social media, so we're having to figure it out. But until there's a universal solution, we have to figure it out for ourselves. So if something is making you feel bad about yourself, stop doing it. You may need to limit your time on social media or stay off of it altogether. I severely limit my time on social media anymore because I know it's a problem. Not only can it be addicting, but it can also make you feel like you should be somewhere else or something better, and that's simply not the truth. You'd be surprised the difference it can make in your happiness and your worthiness and your feeling of worthiness. Now, for others, self-worth has just never come easily, and so it's been a lifelong struggle. Now, it could be from unresolved issues in their past, long-held beliefs that maybe you have about yourself that are causing the problems. Beliefs like, I'm not a good person, or I don't belong, or I'm not lovable. Now, if you've been listening to my podcast for a while, you know I was raised in a pretty strict religion. And I got to tell you, I'm not the best rule follower in the world. And I struggled with all the rules. There were so many. But approval from my parents hinged on adherence to those rules, which isn't good. So well into my adulthood, I had feelings of not being a good person and not ever being good enough. Now, I've had to do a lot of work, and I'm still doing it. You've heard me often doing the work right here on this podcast. I mean, our childhood is where we form our rules for living, so to speak. So your childhood can have long-lasting effects, but I don't want you to worry. I do not want you to get stuck in a story. We can get to the bottom of that, and it doesn't have to take 3 years of therapy. Getting coaching was one of the best things I did for myself because it actually showed me my own mind, and I was able to kind of weed out some of the deep-seated beliefs I held from back when I was like 13. So don't be afraid to get help if you're in that boat. I mean, coaching is one of the best investments I ever made. It's why I am where I am today. Now, there's also those that maybe had plenty of self-worth, but then they hit a snag in their life, and now their self-worth is faltering. Maybe they lost a job or had a relationship go bad. Maybe you're not happy with where you are weight-wise. These are all things we so often tie to our self-worth, and they can cause problems in the rest of our life too. When we have self-worth, low self-worth, we often put ourselves last. So our health can go right out the window. I was talking to a sweet friend in the last week, and she said, sometimes I think I care more about others than I do about myself. And I think that's a really relatable statement for most people. Another friend recently told me that she feels like she will do way more for other people than she will do for herself. You see, we see our worthiness when someone else approves of us or when we do something nice for someone and they acknowledge it. Our worthiness actually becomes visible, and that's why it feels so good. That's why it makes us feel confident for a moment, because someone else believes that thing about us, so it must be true. Until your brain gets a hold of it and tells you it isn't, which doesn't take long. And now you're back to feeling unworthy. Now, when other people confirm how nice you are or how well you did or how good you look, that momentarily boosts our confidence. And yes, it feels good. But that's a temporary fix, right? Because then off you go about your day and the good feeling starts to wane. So then you have to go get that fix again. Maybe you go above and beyond for someone and this time they don't acknowledge it though, which upsets you. And so you ruminate about it and you talk about it with your friends and they tell you how awesome you are and not to worry about it. That person's a jerk and you're great. And then you feel good again for a moment. This is the roller coaster we're on when we're looking for other people and other things outside of us to validate us so that we feel worthy. And if this is you, and I suspect we all have moments of it, you're not alone. When we don't trust ourselves or we have low self-worth, we're constantly looking for approval from other people. The opinions of other people become very important if we don't trust our own. Now, your worthiness is not tied into what anyone else says or does or thinks. It simply isn't. And your opinion matters just as much as anyone else's. You're as worthy today as the day you were born. Your failures do not make you less worthy, but your successes don't make you any more worthy either. I mean, you don't get more worthy if you're rich, nor are you less worthy if you're struggling to pay the bills. You don't get more worthy if you're super fit, and you're not less worthy if your weight isn't where you want it. You see, if you don't love yourself and think you're worthy at the weight you are right now or with the bank account you have, you're not going to love yourself and think you're worthy at any weight or any amount of money. You'll just find something else to show you that you're not worthy. Isn't that just the worst? Trust me, I've been there. It's that old I'll be happy when syndrome. So I want you to ask yourself this question. You can just think about it. Just ask yourself this question right now. How do I want to feel about myself as is? How do I want to feel about myself as I am right now? Because that's your reality. And listen, you aren't your physical body. You're the essence that resides in your physical body. Your physical body is just a reflection of how you feel about yourself. And if there's something you want to change, that's okay. It's good even. That's an opportunity for growth. Don't use it as a reason to feel unworthy. View it for what it is, an opportunity for growth. Have your own back. Don't beat yourself up about things you want to change. It's okay. You deserve to live in a body you love. You deserve to have relationships that are rewarding. You're worthy of living a life that's fulfilling. And when you have high self-worth, you have your own back. You're comfortable saying no to things, and you don't tolerate less than you deserve. Now that includes the food you eat, the people you surround yourself with, the exercise you get, and it especially includes the way you talk to yourself, your internal dialogue, which is never ending. I mean, we're all works in progress. We're never going to be complete until we die. I mean, we're always going to be evolving. I love that. I think it's great. I mean, wherever you are in your life, you're just fine. This is just the beginning of the rest of your life. The question is, how's the rest of your life going to look? Doing the same things you've always done will get you the same things you've always had. You want to up your game? You have to shake things up. And that starts inside, because that's where you'll find your self-worth. Don't wait until you find yourself chronically depressed. Shake things up now. You can have a life you love. It's possible, and you're worth it. My challenge to you today is to look at your current situation and from an honest viewpoint, how do you view yourself? What's the inner dialogue about your life, your body, your relationships? Are they mostly negative or mostly positive? Negative self-talk is sneaky. Sometimes we don't even realize we have it. I mean, you can have a belief that you aren't even aware you have that's causing you to feel super unworthy. Some of the most shocking things can come out of doing a thought download. I mean, I know it has for me, so don't just think about this. Take action, like we were talking about at the beginning. Don't just think about it. Take action. Do a thought download today and every day this next week. And you may see a pattern of thought that needs to be interrupted. And if you don't know what a thought download is, go back and listen to episode 235. I explained it in great detail. You'll come up with some pretty crazy ideas that you have in your head that you didn't even know were there. And they could be stopping you from living that life you know you were meant to live. Share this episode with 3 people. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you in a few days. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.